At the conclusion of yesterday, we had this data table filled in, and we'd used boat capacity along the y-axis and the average number of pennies supported for the x-axis, and we took these two numbers, 24 and 66, and this is boat A, and when we did this, if you recall, we went 66 and then over to 24, and we did, this is the plot, and we made the plot for boat A, and then we did it for boat C, and C's coordinates were 78 and 28, and that's where C showed up. And then we took our ruler and we extended the line through the 2 points all the way through. This will be one straight continuous line, and this will be called our extrapolation line or our prediction line. Okay, now today we're going to actually do the same thing we did on day one. On day one, we found the capacity of both boat A and C. But today, we're going to find the capacity of both boat B and D. If you don't recall how to do that, you're going to follow these directions, and if you're still stumped, please pull up and watch video day one of the Scientific Inquiry Lifeboat Lab. Okay, I've fast forwarded through this, and I found the capacity of both B and D, and I recorded it down here. Now, if you recall, these two values should equal 100 milliliters. So 48 and 52 is 100, 3 and 97 is 100. Now what we have to do is we will have to make a prediction. We need to predict the number of pennies that will be supported. And the way we're going to do that is we will be using our prediction line or extrapolation line. Alright, so this is the number we have to remember, 52. So I go along the y-axis, and it's the same on both sides, and this is the capacity in milliliters, and I go and find 52. Well, if you look right here, there's 5 boxes between 50 and 60, therefore each one of these is 2 mLs. And so the first spot we would plot the point would be right there, 52. And then what we have to do is, this is our prediction. So before we actually put the pennies in there, we're going to be able to come up with a very accurate prediction of how many pennies that boat will hold. Okay, so I suggest get a sheet of white paper, and if I follow that line over, all the way over to my extrapolation line, stay right on it, you can see that it's right there that it intersects. So I'm going to make a mark right there, and then see if this makes sense. If I go straight down, if you look at this, along the x-axis, there's 20, and this is coming down right in front of the 20 by 1 box. Therefore, it would be at 19. Now, in order for this to stand out, I would like you to mark your prediction with a red pencil. And this way I can have an idea of how you came up with this. So we went over 52 and we went down, and according to our prediction line, that boat should hold 19 pennies. So when I go back over to this sheet here, I will write 19 pennies supported. I'll do the same thing for boat D. Boat D states 97 is the capacity. If I go over here 97, you can see it comes up here. It's going to be about right there. So once again, I get my white sheet of paper. I follow it along and over all the way until it intersects with my extrapolation or prediction line, and I'm going to put a little mark right there. So it's right there. And then, as I told you, I'd like you to mark it with a red so it stands out. And now, in order to figure out my prediction, I will simply use this white paper again, and I will go straight down to the x-axis. And when I do that, you can see it's falling right close to the 35 line. Somewhere between 34 and 35 pennies will it support if I follow right along down from there. So now I will write that value in. So my prediction, according to my extrapolation line, would be anywhere from 34 to 35 pennies. So that's what I'll do. Okay, that brings me through day 4. The second part of day 4 is now what we have to do is we're actually going to have the trials. You're going to take your boat. First you'll take boat B, 2B, or not to be. That is the question. Now you're going to put this into your blue bucket with water, and you will start adding pennies just like you did before. And once it capsizes, you'll record that number here. Remember to subtract the 1 penny that caused it to capsize, though. And you're going to do 3 trials of this. After you conduct the 3 trials, you're going to find the average, and you're going to list it right there. And you do the same thing for boat D. 3 trials, find the average, list it there. Okay. The last thing you'll have to do is right here where it says record the difference between the predicted number and the average number that it actually supported. So what they want you to find out is from what you predicted, which was this column here, and what you actually saw in terms of how many pennies the boat did support, what was the difference? So hypothetically, let's say I add these 3 up and I find out that the average was 21. So the difference between 21 and 19 would be 2. So I just write 2. If the next one was 34 to 35, and let's say it turns out to be 34, well, the difference between my prediction for the first number would be 0. 34 minus 34 is 0. And my difference between 34 and 35 would be 1. That's how I arrive at the difference. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and I will help you. Thank you.